Hey guys, what's up? You're watching the EJ Tech Show with me, Sahil, and this is Soham. And the world's most beautiful looking phone is back in a Pro avatar. This is the new Vivo V20 Pro, which comes after the Vivo V20 and the Vivo V20 SE. So this is the third phone in the Vivo V20 lineup of smartphones. And this looks very similar. The Vivo V20 Pro looks very similar to the standard V20, especially from the back. But with this one, what Vivo's done is that they've taken the best features from the Vivo V20 and then just built on top of that. So it's retained stuff like the beautiful design and slim form factor, but now you get a much faster processor and you also get two cameras on the front.
So the V20 Pro, on the face of it looks somewhat like a very backwards sort of launch series. Like instead of launching the top spec and then the mid spec and then the lower spec, they've sort of gone about it in a very mixed manner. And yes, like Sahil said, it builds on everything the V20 had. That had the 720G chipset. This now comes with a 765G chipset. That had a 44 megapixel selfie camera. This also has a 44 megapixel selfie camera, but with an additional sensor for ultra wide selfies. So there's a lot of features on offer that have been spec'd up for the Pro variant. And I honestly would say that this is worth the incremental upgrade in price that it costs.
And I think also to go back to the way they've launched the phones, that they haven't launched the Pro variant first, but the Vivo V20. So it's a very weird sort of way of doing it. And the price has a lot to do with that, because had they launched the Vivo V20 Pro, which is priced at 29,990 rupees, it's only about, I think, 2,000 rupees more than the Vivo V20, the standard one. So no one would have gone for that.
Exactly.
I mean, it just didn't make any sense. So it kind of makes sense from Vivo's perspective to launch this first, sell these units as much as possible. Then they finally launch the Pro variant. So in a way, whoever has recently purchased the Vivo V20 is going to feel slightly shortchanged.
Although the buyers who have been waiting for it, who are interested, loyalists to Vivo, they've been rewarded in this instance, because they've said, you know what, the V20 looks really nice, I think I want to get that. And Vivo said, okay, hang on, here's a V20 Pro variant. You'll get even more specs with a slight price bump. And it really goes to show that Vivo is now out and out coming up to challenge the likes of OnePlus in India, which is really great to see, because usually we've been seeing this sort of vacuum in the mid-tier spec range, like around 20 to 30k is anyone's game. Anyone can do anything. Now everyone's out to get the big dog, which is the OnePlus Nord.
So recently Motorola launched the Moto G, which is Moto G 5G, which is the cheapest 5G phone. That title was claimed by OnePlus Nord for a long time, but at 20,000 rupees now, that's the cheapest 5G phone. So OnePlus Nord is now, the competition. It's really getting a lot more competition than before. So this joins those ranks, and a lot of people are calling this the OnePlus Nord killer. But at the same time, design being its main focus, which is pretty much for a lot of Vivo phones, even before. For the whole Vivo V20 lineup, design and camera have been the two focus. Now, take a look at the Vivo V20 and take a look at the Vivo V20 Pro from the back. They both get that beautiful sunset melody color, and it is without a doubt one of the best looking phones I have used to date. It looks stunning, and of course then you've got that slim form factor. That one was about
7.48 millimeters, 49 millimeters, and that's 7.48 millimeters. They're more thicker than the other color variants because of the sunset melody finish. It requires more stuff at the back apparently, but either way, they look so stunning. We've said this before, even in our phone shootout, our phones of the year. This is hands down one of the best looking smartphones of the year, and now it has the performance chops to back it up. Because earlier you always had to think, you know what, Vivo's offering you good camera performance and good design, but performance slightly just almost there.
But this one comes with the Snapdragon 765G, which is the same chip that you also get on the OnePlus Nord. So we know what sort of performance to expect. It's very good. It's very fast. It's not going to be fast as the 800 series, but for the top end 700 series, this is really good, whether it's for multitasking, whether it's for gaming. It does the job just fine.
Exactly. You're not going to get any drop frames or lag or heating issues even, because ultimately it's a good Snapdragon chip. It's a 765G chip. And when it comes to multitasking, you also have to take a look at FunTouch versus Oxygen OS. Now, FunTouch, we've always had a few pain points with it, but over the years, we've also said it's gotten much better. FunTouch OS 11 is the one that this has, but there's a very key difference between this phone and that phone.
Yeah, so this one out of the box came with Android 11.
Exactly.
And this one comes with Android 10. Now, Vivo has said that they will be releasing the Android 11 through an OTA update. So that'll be coming soon. But yeah, you're right. It is weird why the Vivo V20, the standard edition, comes with Android 11, and the Pro variant, which is slightly more expensive, is coming with Android 10. So I don't know what the logic behind that is, but that seems to be the case. But quickly, let's just talk about that slim form factor once again. We know that this is like one of the sleekest phones we've used, both of them, the Vivo V20 and the Vivo V20 Pro. Now, the reason it's so slim is, at least according to Vivo, is because they've shrunk the internals and they've also used this high-density battery, which allows for this form factor to exist. But of course, an interesting thing to notice over here, that the Vivo V20, despite actually even being ever so slightly slimmer than that one, comes with a headphone jack, and this one doesn't. But luckily, you do get that 3.5mm adapter in the box, so that was very kind of Vivo to do so.
Yeah, that is something that most manufacturers don't offer when they're taking away the headphone jack. Very few of them do that now. But then again, this is one of the first Vivo phones we've seen in a while that comes without a headphone jack, at least at this price point. So it makes sense for Vivo to give that. So now the camera units on both these phones are very similar. They both get a 64 megapixel primary sensor, but the key difference is the software that Vivo has packed in for the V20 Pro. It seems that some of the top level specs, at least when it comes to the camera app, have been reserved for the higher spec variant. For example, things like I mentioned earlier, double exposure. Now that's a feature you don't really get to see on any smartphone. I don't think there's any smartphone I've at least reviewed in my life which gets double exposure right out of the box in the stock camera app. Apart from that, you also get dual video recording and picture-in-picture video recording, which means you can have a little inset of yourself and you have whatever the rear camera is recording. Basically, both cameras record at the same time. So let's say you're trying to get a reaction of yourself reacting to something that's happening in front of you. It's a very cool thing to have, and especially in this vlogging sort of age, that's a really handy feature for creatives. And that, again, I think circles back to what I said before. That is who Vivo is really marketing this V20 Pro at, creatives. Because this also gives you 4K resolution, both on the back and the front camera, and 4K 60 FPS at that. So they're really thinking about, you know what, if someone needs to use this as their daily driver vlogging machine, are they going to be able to use it? And the answer is definitely yes.
Yes, vlogging, it'll definitely do, but sadly, the storage doesn't reflect that. So this gets 128 GB storage, which should be sufficient for most people. But obviously, if you're vlogging, if you're shooting a lot of stuff, then you will need more storage. And this doesn't come with the micro SD expansion slot. So you're stuck with that 128 GB. So it's something to consider if storage space is important to you. But that being said, at the same time, you can get Google storage, you can get some other cloud storage. So yes, those options do exist. But internal storage, always having that much more of it is always a better thing than having less of it, at least in my opinion.
And it is important to note that this is happening while Vivo has bundled an expandable storage slot in the V20. So that means they could have done it.
They could have done it.
That is kind of weird.
And it wouldn't have affected the form factor, the slimness of it.
It's really weird when you think of it.
And also, if you
slimmer
actually,
phone
has a headphone jack and has
a micro SD.
And the Vivo V20, it's bigger. It's slightly bigger. And they both get the same display, 6.44-inch displays.
So maybe it's the bezel size, I think, a bit.
It is. So I think the Vivo V20
and it has a smaller notch.
And it has a smaller notch, yes. Okay, so I did mention the display there. So like I said, 6.44-inch AMOLED display on the Vivo V20 Pro, same as the Vivo V20. And it's a very good display. It's very colorful. It's a little bit oversaturated at times. This is a problem with most Vivo phones, especially when you look at pictures. They will just look so nice on them, but when you look at the same picture on a computer, you're like, hey, that's not quite right.
That's the trick.
Yeah, but Vivo does that, but you can always change the settings if it's too bright for your liking. But my biggest problem with the display is that even now with the Pro variant, you're still not getting a high refresh rate. And for a phone that costs almost 30,000 rupees, this is now expected, a high refresh rate. I'm not saying that this phone lags in any way. The display is pretty good. And in fact, I would say that this display is probably better than some phones that do have 90 Hz refresh rate, because Vivo's done such a good job with the software optimization. But at the same time, a high refresh rate makes so much difference to scrolling and animation playback. And it would have been nice to have it, for sure.
Or at least just now on a spec sheet, because now we're coming into the age where 15,000 rupees, 16,000 rupee phones are now getting 90 Hz high refresh rate screens.
So recently, Infinix with the 08i 15,000 phone got 90 hertz on there.
So it really goes to show how fast this technology
Yeah.
is progressing. Just a few, not even a few years ago, barely a couple of, 1.5 years ago or so, we had the OnePlus 7 Pro with the 90 hertz coming in. And then since then, just one after the other, everyone's launched 120 hertz. Some have even come out with 144 hertz. So at least 90 hertz would be a good thing. So I'm hoping Vivo maybe introduces that on their next device.
Yeah.
But then again, I know Vivo also reserves those sort of gamey features for their iQOO brand. So maybe we'll see something new coming in that direction. Never know.
Yeah. So let's talk quickly about the battery now. So I think this comes with a
4000
4000
mAh unit.
battery and 33 watt fast charging as well. So what's your battery experience been with this one?
So mostly screen on time will get you around at least 4 to 5 hours of screen on time with regular usage. If you really push it balls to the walls, then you're going to get somewhere around 2.5 hours. But that's if you're just going completely crazy, only switching on for mobile gaming or Netflix and high brightness settings. So then it may not last you as long. But still, it's a 4000 mAh battery. So 1 day with average usage is a minimum.
Yeah.
And you get 33 watt flash charging technology from Vivo, which is really quick to charge it from 0 to 100. It took me around almost 60 minutes to be precise from 0 to 100. So that is quite quick.
Okay, so let's round things up now. Vivo V20, Vivo V20 SE, and now the Vivo V20 Pro. SE I'm going to put aside because that's definitely the less powerful smartphone from these two. But if someone is now coming looking to get a Vivo phone and they want to invest in a phone that gives you great design and great camera and also a really good display, does it make now sense just to go to the Vivo V20 Pro, considering the price difference between both of these aren't that marginal?
See, I think again, it comes down to what you really want from your smartphone. If you want expandable storage and if you want a headphone jack, then the V20 might be better. But if you don't really care about those things and you want better performance and you want a better chipset, then yes, the V20 Pro makes more sense.
Okay.
So ultimately, it comes down to what you prefer as a buyer.
Okay. Well, on that note, it's time to say goodbye and let us know which Vivo V20 phone or which Vivo phone or which phone you're planning to buy very soon. Let us know, give us your thoughts, give us your feedback. We'll be back next time. Take care.